Wow, it almost sounds like you want to know.
We were just talking about you and your mother's lingerie.
The Young and the Restless spoilers. Sharon pivots to framing Phyllis, makes Daniel's mom look guilty of Heather takedown. The Young and the Restless, Law and R. Spoilers reveal that Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, will feel cornered during the week of November 4 to 8. Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford. Plan to get Sharon to crack may backfire on her if she's not careful. After Phyllis drops hints about having proof, it'll spook Sharon enough to consider getting a restraining order against her. Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, will work to talk Sharon out of it and suggest she'd look like she was giving credence to Phyllis' claims. Of course, Sharon also knows she'd be the prime suspect if Phyllis turned up deceased. The last thing Sharon needs is another body to get rid of and any more fingers pointed at her. As a result, Sharon may have to consider other options when it comes to handling Phyllis. A restraining order or a fatal plot are still possibilities here, but we should also consider a new strategy that would turn the case upside down. Since Phyllis is so determined to prove Sharon wiped Heather Stevens, Fail Bloom, off the map and framed Daniel Romalotti Jr., Michael Grazietti, for it, what if Sharon flips this around on her? Sharon might settle on a new frame-up victim and make Phyllis look like the guilty party instead. Perhaps Sharon could view it as a way to alleviate some of the guilt she's feeling over trying to send Lucy Romalotti's, Lily Brooks O'Brien, dad to prison. Sharon wouldn't feel nearly as bad about putting Phyllis behind bars and might tell herself that Phyllis belongs there anyway. After all, Phyllis faked her demise and framed Diane Jenkins Abbott, Susan Walters, for taking her out. I&R fans will also recall that Phyllis is responsible for eliminating Jeremy Stark, James Hyde, and disposing of his body. Phyllis managed to avoid a lengthy stint in prison, but Sharon might hope she won't be so lucky this time around. Sharon might plant more proof that ultimately leads the cops to believe Phyllis could be guilty. Since the murder weapon appears to be an octopus bookend, that's odd and could play a significant role in the story. Sharon might get updates on that information and run with it. Was there a reason why Y&R went with an octopus instead of literally any other bookend theme? Phyllis recently told Lucy the story of how she put an octopus in Christine Blair's, Laura Lee Bell, bed once upon a time. Perhaps that could give Sharon the idea to pivot and make Phyllis the top suspect instead. Maybe Sharon could somehow make it look like Phyllis fought with Heather and framed Daniel for reasons the police would have to figure out. Sharon might not care too much about motives as long as new evidence points at Phyllis and muddies the waters of this case. In other words, anything that gets Phyllis off her back could be a good thing in Sharon's eyes. If Sharon can put the heat on Phyllis and keep her busy fighting off the cops, that might work out well on Sharon's end, at least for a while. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Sharon's story will bring more surprises, so we'll pass along predictions on all the stunning news to come. In the complex, often chaotic world of Geno City, power plays and sudden shifts in allegiances are as common as the daily sunrise. Yet even in a town as accustomed to high drama as this, the brewing storm between Sharon Rosales and Phyllis Summers promises to be one for the ages. Recent developments suggest Sharon, typically the bastion of empathy and level-headedness, might be ready to make an uncharacteristic and bold pivot that will set Geno City abuzz with speculation and scandal. Hashtag, 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 a change in Sharon's approach. For years, Sharon has been seen as the compassionate, level-headed voice of reason. Despite her tumultuous past, which includes struggles with mental health and moments of moral ambiguity, she has fought hard to become a respected figure in her community. Her steady ascent into this new chapter of her life has brought her professional success with her coffee house, Crimson Lights, and personal growth after enduring devastating losses. But this is Genoa City, a place where old wounds are rarely allowed to heal. Sharon's calm facade has been tested repeatedly, especially with Phyllis Summers, who has a knack for stirring up trouble wherever she goes. Their rivalry, which dates back to the days when Sharon was married to Nick Newman and Phyllis had her own romantic entanglements with him, has always simmered below the surface. However, this time, it's not just about romantic rivalry or petty grudges. This is about survival and reclaiming power. ###, the catalyst. Heather's return and Phyllis' involvement. The recent return of Heather Stevens to Genoa City has thrown Daniel Romalotti's life into disarray. The two share a complicated history filled with love, betrayal, and longing. Although they have managed a tentative truce for the sake of Lucy, their daughter, things have taken a sudden dark turn. Heather's unexpected arrival has coincided with a series of strange and unsettling incidents that have left her feeling targeted. Daniel, who has been desperate to reconnect with Heather and rebuild the fragments of their once beautiful life, is caught between protecting her and figuring out who would want to disrupt their fragile peace. The list of potential suspects is long, but one name keeps resurfacing: Phyllis, his own mother. Phyllis' reputation for scheming and manipulation has haunted her for years, and while she claims to have changed, not everyone is convinced. When rumors start to circulate that Phyllis could be involved in orchestrating these bizarre events to keep Heather away from Daniel, Sharon sees an opportunity, a way to both protect Daniel from further heartache and remove Phyllis from the equation for good. ### Sharon's bold gamble, framing Phyllis. Sharon's decision to take this drastic step stems from more than just old animosities. Recent months have seen Sharon grapple with newfound insecurities as old relationships have reignited around her. Seeing the rekindling of Nick and Sally Spectra's connection, witnessing Adam Newman's unwavering attention on Chelsea Lawson, and knowing that her attempts at new beginnings have often been sabotaged or overshadowed by women like Phyllis. All these factors have conspired to push Sharon toward an unexpected edge. Sharon's plan is simple, yet daring, to make it look like Phyllis has orchestrated the series of bizarre incidents targeting Heather. To do this, Sharon leverages her connections at Crimson Lights, where gossip flows as freely as the coffee. She knows that by planting a few well-chosen seeds, suggestions whispered to the right people, veiled implications in casual conversations, she can turn public opinion against Phyllis. Once the whispers begin to swirl, it won't be long before someone with the authority to act picks up the scent. ###, the risks and rewards. This bold move carries monumental risks. If Sharon's plan is exposed, she could face not only legal repercussions, but also the complete destruction of the reputation she has worked so hard to rebuild. Moreover, if Phyllis discovers the plan, she will not take it lying down. Phyllis is a fighter, capable of turning the tables when she feels cornered. Sharon knows that if this gambit fails, it could spark a rivalry that may burn brighter and more dangerously than anything Genoa City has seen in years.